I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James. I have the distinct honor of introducing you to powerful women, extraordinary women, women who've taken control of their lives. They are change makers, and they're models for us to know what's possible. So I'm excited about doing that because what I know is this is the time on the planet for women emerging, for us to step into our power, into our light, and to bring our gifts to the planet. I do these every week, and so it's very exciting. And we're on Spotify, iHeart, we're on Spreaker, we're on Amazon, we're on YouTube. Subscribe, come back every week, and meet a fantastic woman. Well, the woman that I'm about to introduce you to has been in my life for quite a number of years, and we've had a lot of iterations, always sister friends, but we've been in business together. We've done a lot of different things. Her name is Hendry. She is a brilliance and presence coach. She's a transformation expert, and she really supports people, but mostly women, to stand in recognizing their own unique brilliance and bring their brilliant best to the world. I love that, right? So she asked the question, do you lack confidence? Do you find that you're comparing yourself to other people, right? She asked the questions, what do you need to do to remove things to stand in your own power, right? So what I love about Jean is that she is, she's the kind of friend everybody wants to have. She's loyal, she's brilliant, she's honest, and she carries that energy into her work life. And so we will be discussing what the brilliance and the presence is, but Jean, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you, dear friend Cynthia. I'm so delighted to be here. And, we've, like you said, we've been through so many different iterations, but it's fun to be here with you in this format.
Well, I always start by asking my guests, how did you grow up? I'm sure you didn't come on the planet as a brilliance expert. So how did you come on the planet and how did you grow up?
Well, so the first thing I want to say is I thought I did. I had, I thought that I had that. When I was about 6 or 7, I was really good at telling other people what they should do and what they should wear. And, I thought I knew it all. I got that slapped out of me pretty quickly. If we talk about my journey in this, it really was, we all teach from that place that we need to learn the most, right? And that was absolutely true for me. The way I grew up, I was the oldest of 4 kids, and my mom had a mental illness that was undiagnosed for years. And so what I learned was how to be a chameleon, how to be whatever somebody else needed me to be in order to stay safe and in order to keep my siblings safe, right? And what happened as a result of that whole journey was that I lost me along the way. When you are, and I think so many of us women do this, but we turn ourselves inside out to be something what we think other people expect us to be and how we need to show up. And so I was not even aware that I had done that, and until I kind of reached this crisis point in my life of going, wow, I don't, if somebody asks me what I want, I have no idea. I have no idea what I want, who I am, what I really want to do with my life. So that kind of really started the journey. And that was, early 40s. I spent a good part of my life being what other people wanted me to be, or what I thought other people wanted me to be.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to fill in a little bit here because you grew up in Texas on a farm, and yet you had a sense of style from the very beginning, which is why you thought you could tell people stuff. I get that. But what is interesting to me is, and I want to say this to the women who are listening, you know, your life is not a linear journey. Because I happen to know you've worked in corporate America. I happen to know you've had different businesses, right? And but was this spark, was it in you in different forms that would lead you to where you are today, no matter where you were working or what you were creating?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I didn't know that's what it was. It's one of the things I've had to learn is what's the difference in something that comes from here versus something that comes from here, right? And that's been a journey in and of itself to connect with that feeling, that spark, that intuition inside of you that says, this is what I want. So I joke a little bit about telling other women what to wear, but they tell us, what did you want to do as a kid? What was that for you? For me, it was always dress up. I could spend hours playing dress up with old things or with this costume. And as I got older, my mother, in her more lucid moments, would say things like, Jeannie, I can't wait until you have your own boutique, your boutique, so, with her Southern accent. And those were things I had convinced myself weren't important. They were frivolous things, things, how you dress and how you look and all of that. I thought that was not substantial stuff and that I needed to do something more important with my life. And so I had that interest from, the time I was really little, but I always pushed it aside. It was a hobby, or it was something I like to play with on the side. It wasn't important work until one day I finally woke up and realized it is important. But the reason it's important is because how we look, how we show up in the world it's a demonstration. It's our self-expression. It's how other people view us. It's how we feel about ourselves. And so if you are disconnected with who you are, then you try to dress like you should or like somebody else because you think that's cute or you want to be like that. That is disconnected. But when we're in alignment with who we are, then we can begin to use how we look, how we dress, how, all of those things to be a powerful form of self-expression that in fact works. It's kind of a circular, I dress this way because I feel like this, but then when I dress this way, it makes me feel more like me, right? More powerful. And so it's a very sympathetic cycle, if you will.
Yeah, so this is important because I want to talk about what it says on your bio is that you are a brilliance and presence expert. And so I think the presence is how you show up in the world and how you dress and the energy. But tell me, what's the brilliance and why is it important?
Oh, good question. So that's another one of those self journeys that I finally had to come to, right? Which is what I call your brilliance is that genius inside of you that each and every one of us has. It's that giftedness, the unique things that we bring to the world that nobody else can in the same way. And I have believed that is true for a long time, but the difficulty I had was seeing it in myself. And I finally kind of came to this crisis point of realizing if I could believe that for you and for her and for her, if I could see that in everybody else, did I really think I was special enough to be the one universal exception who didn't have that? I mean, it didn't make logical sense. So then I had to really stop and look at where am I hiding? What am I hiding from? And where am I not telling myself the truth?
Yeah.
And getting to the owning of my own brilliance and then helping other women see it in themselves, because we have this real, whatever it is we've done to ourselves to say, oh, we're modest and we're humble and and I'm not saying be arrogant, but I am saying own it, because you've got it. You just need to define it, know what it is, and bring it to the world in terms of your best expression. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, and I love that. So, ladies, Jean and I worked with entrepreneurs. We had a company called the Academy of Women Emerging, and one of the things that we would do, it was Jean would lead us through the creation of our own brilliance statement, and so I want you to describe what that is, because it's not a normal, this is my mission and this is my vision.
Good, thank you, because that's true. It can be part of that, but this is really different. So your brilliant statement, when I work with women, this is the place we start, because I am going to help you with your best colors and your shapes and your styles, and how is it you want to express in the world. But until we've connected to your heart and the giftedness of you, we can't do any of that, because it's out of integrity. It's out of alignment for us. So your brilliant statement is a compilation, and we kind of go through a process of identifying, first of all, what it is you think you're good at. If we're really being honest with yourself, what are those things? And then we go through several, you can do strengths tests, and there's some outside assessments that we consider. It's all about what's resonant with you, but that's input. And then we go ask some people who are really close to you, who see you in ways that you might not see yourself. Now, I'm never an advocate for defining ourselves from an external perspective. I don't believe in that, but I do believe there can be good insight and input that we can take in for consideration. So we take all this information and this, all of the things we hear and all of the things we know about ourselves, and we begin to craft a statement. And this is very intentional. It is an I am statement. And Cynthia, I know you talk about the power of I am all the time, but I am allows us to claim that for ourselves. We own it. And it is, I have kind of a template, which some people tell me is very wordy. And you know what? I don't care. I want you to use as many words as you need to define who it is that you are. But it is, I am multiple adjective, noun. So I am a brilliant, compassionate leader, teacher, guide, right? So adjectives, nouns, who uses her unique gifts of, okay, and mine in particular, I have two major gifts that I think that I bring: logical analysis and creative design. So I use those two gifts in service to women, to help them see themselves and bring their full power to the world. So it is an I am statement of claiming who you are, your authenticity. And the other thing that I tell people is this is not aspirational. This is not someday in the future, I will be this if I work hard. It is, this is who I am right now in this moment when I am at my very best. And I also have to say, you must be a really magic person if you always show up as your best, because I don't, that's not me every day, but I do wake up every day and I read that statement and I remind myself of who I am. And then you've also been through this process. I actually have women come up with something that they wear or that they carry or something that helps them remember that. So mine is this little ring that I wear every single day, which is the reminder. It holds my brilliance for me. And I put that on and I go, oh yeah, I remember who I am. Oh yeah, I got this.
I love that. I read my brilliant statement every day, and I also have rings that I wear that do that. So Jan, you are so gifted at what you do, and I know that you work with leaders and entrepreneurs and individuals. But I want to talk about transformation because in your lifetime, you have transitioned on multiple occasions. You know, from corporate to having your own business to having another business, you've transitioned. I also know that a great deal of what you do is that you are a seeker, a spiritual seeker. So tell me how those two things go together.
So how how transformation and spiritual seeking go together? Yeah, that's a journey in and of itself, isn't it? It's I think at some point in our lives, most of us reach that point of going, wow, I mean, is this really it? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And for me, there's just always been this inner restlessness, if you will, about, gosh, I don't know if this is it, or I don't know. And so I was always seeking outside of me. And it's been a really incredible journey of learning it's never out there. It's never out there. It's always in here. And so the transformation for me has been driven by the seeking, no question about it. But the transformation is the recognition of that incredibly rich world that lives inside of me and who it is. And Cynthia, I know you've heard me say this many times, but I absolutely firmly believe that we each have this brilliance and this genius inside of it. And it is our job to bring that to the world in the very best way we can. It's our responsibility. And so for me, the transformation has been from looking outside of me to what other people or what I thought I should be doing in order to be successful in the world, to connecting to who this person really is and looking at what are the creative ways that I can bring that to other people to help them have that same kind of recognition.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And me like you, I was a chameleon. You could talk to several different people and they tell you they dated different people because I was what they wanted, how they wanted to show up, or I was in whatever job I was in, I was what they needed. But I think what's important about what you are saying, it has to do with the fact that when you own your own brilliance, when you claim it, when you become responsible for delivering it, then there is no more need to get outside approval and validation because you can stand in your power.
That is true. And I also would just like to be very clear, at least for me, that's not just like a switch that turns on and you never do that again. I just had a little experience yesterday there where I had to talk myself down off of a ledge a little bit because somebody externally to me made a decision that, I immediately took it in as something wrong with me or something I had done that, caused this, when the truth of the matter is that's not true. I know it's not true, but there was that old story part of me that just went, oh, what did I do wrong? And, so it's every day is a new opportunity to stand in that place of your own power and to practice, right? Being you.
Yeah, I think it's so important because there is no rival. You all have heard me say this 100,000 times, I'm sure. But what is important is what I loved about what you just said, Jean, is you had that experience. You were having the reaction to it, but you also paused long enough to go, oh, that's not true. That's not me. And so what I think is important about the work that you do, and ladies, I hope you're paying attention, is that when you get secure within yourself, you're not always going to be focused and strong and on it, but you have the tools and the capacity to move back to center. So, Jean, how do people find you?
Well, and I'd love to tell you, and what you just said triggered something in me, so let me give you how you can find me, but then I got to share one more thing with you, if that's okay. So my website is beyourbrilliant.best, and it is .best, not .com, beyourbrilliant.best. My Instagram is bebrilliantbest. And my Facebook is Be Brilliant. So I love to hear from people, and I am so happy to support in any ways if you want to reach out to me in any regard. What I want to share with you is what you just said triggered something in me, because in the work that I do, so we always start from the place of brilliance. But one of the things, and I know this is something you teach too, but the place, the energy that we hold about ourselves, that place of self-identity, is responsible for what we attract into our life, what we pay attention to, right? So that when we are coming from a place of I'm not enough, guess what messages you get from the universe back, right? I mean, you're getting all kinds of messages, but you've got this little thing in your brain called the RAS, which the reticular activating system, its job is to help you focus on the things that are important to you. So when you have these beliefs that you're not enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not worthy, whatever, your RAS is looking for things that reinforce that. And sure enough, you're going to find them. Yesterday I could have spun out into that, oh my gosh, I'm not worth it. But when you have a self-identity that starts from that brilliance statement, you create an energy that you put out in the world that says, hey, man, I'm this, I am brilliant, and I am good at this, and I'm compassionate, and I am whatever it is, right? And that little Raz goes, sure, I'll find, and you start bringing those things in. And so it's this complete cycle. And one of the things that I believe so strongly is that how we dress, how we present ourselves in the world helps us hang on to that identity, right? There's actually research, and me, I'm such a research nerd. I love the science behind all of this. There is research that says what we put on our bodies matters because we ascribe energy and attributes to that. So if I put on something that makes me feel powerful and strong and like my brilliance statement, it's going to carry the energy of that. So on those days when I kind of don't feel, all that great, but I put on those things that make me feel that, it actually increases your testosterone hormone, which is your confidence, and it decreases your cortisol, which is stress. And this is science that's actually related to how we dress. Isn't that cool? I'm sorry. I think that's
incredible. No, it's incredible. And it's true. I mean, I've been practicing that for years. People say, why are you so dressed up? I'm like, I'm not dressed up. I'm just feeling good. I'm just bringing that here. So I love that, Jean. And I, ladies, I hope you will go and look her up, see what she does, what her offerings are. Jean, this show is called Women Awakening. And I ask the same last question of every guest. What do you think is the one thing that is the most important about women awakening today?
So is the question, what's important about their awakening, or what do I encourage them to do?
Well, what do you think is the most important thing for them?
I think it is exactly what we've been talking about. It starts at home. You got to recognize who you are and appreciate and bring your brilliance, your confidence, not your arrogance, and not your humbleness. So stand in your power and do what is yours to do, because when we are modeling for each other, we give everybody permission to show up in our brilliance.
I love that. Okay, ladies, if you missed any of it, rewind and listen. Jean, thank you so much for being here. I love what you're doing in the world. I love that you're in my life and that you have blessed me so often with your gifts.
Thank you so much for having me, Cynthia. I adore you, and I'd love to hear from anyone that I can support.
So, ladies, I'm going to say the same thing to you I say every week in a different form. Hey, you're it. You're fabulous. You're powerful. You're dynamic. And yes, you are brilliant. There's a genius that lives inside of you that is ready in this moment to come out and shine. So take a leap. Jean and the women that I introduce you to are models. They're saying, this is the possibility. I love you. I hope you will come back every week and meet another woman and know that I'm so honored to walk this path with you. Many blessings.